Just ahead, giving your youngster a leg up on a successful future. Early childhood education may impact everything from unemployment to violence and teen pregnancy. We'll look at the efforts underway in 2 school districts. Don't call it vocational education. Statewide career tech programs take a new direction in getting high school students ready for jobs and college. And a Southern California teacher is blinding them with science. Chemistry takes center stage as this instructor receives top honors as Teacher of the Year, not once, but multiple times. It's all coming up on Inside California Education.
Inside California Education is made possible by School Services of California, Capital Advisors Group, Schools Insurance Authority, Kobayashi and Company, ACT Aspire, and by the Stewart Foundation.
Welcome to Inside California Education. I'm Jim Finnerty. While public school funding makes up the largest program in the California state budget, some $40 billion, many of us have only limited knowledge about where those tax dollars are going or how it impacts California's 6.2 million public school students. The Golden State has long been a testing ground for educational choices and opportunities. One national magazine calls education a long-term investment in America's future. So let's give you some details on the people and programs affecting that future. In this half hour, we'll explore why many policymakers are saying California should increase its funding for early childhood education. We'll take you to Fresno and to San Francisco for that. We'll also meet a Los Angeles County science teacher making a difference in the lives of her students. But let's start with a statewide approach to give high school students greater choices in pursuing a career or a college education. If you're a fan of the Food Channel, scenes like this are a familiar sight.
You know, you're here, you're pretty much working for like a restaurant, for example, like we're doing today. You know, we're cooking food for the Thermopylae restaurant, and, you know, that just gives you the idea of like what it would be like to actually work in a restaurant.
This is a culinary course at San Juan High School in Citrus Heights, California. Like dozens of other high school campuses across the state, a number of courses here focus on career tech, exposing students to the real-world challenges or choices they'll face after high school.
We do customer service, we do how to cost food, how to create a menu, just everything that you would do in a restaurant.
This is for table 6.
More than just cooking, this coursework touches on time management, creative writing, and math skills, including weights and measures.
Just having these skills from this program to manage something, to run something, to be in charge of people, and to work with people, I feel like that just gives me a lot, you know, for my future.
Culinary courses along with construction training are just 2 of the offerings here, meeting changing demands for both career and college requirements.
We have computer-based programs, business academies. We have some programs that are in the background of the medical field, law enforcement, and we even have some sports programs and like recreation programs that students may find that they want to go into.
The media production course at San Juan focuses on computer technology, creative writing, and production skills. And there's another benefit.
This is not only a really good structured learning, but it's fun. It teaches you, but it also helps you to get through your day. So, oh great, I have chemistry, oh great, I have algebra 2, and then, oh, I have media. Stressful? Yes, but fun? Oh yeah. It doesn't only help you learn, but it helps you have a good day.
Hey sports fans, I'm Mika.
And I'm Chantal.
This is more like a job than it is a classroom experience, and I tell them that all the time. They have to learn how to work with other people, they have to learn how to problem solve, and think on their feet.
Right on set. You have the sound ready?
Courses can also demand that students take on different responsibilities. mirroring realistic employer-employee relationships.
It's actually kind of hard too, especially when you're finding like one of your best friends, and it's hard too because you're like, you're my best friend, but this isn't going to work. You might be my best friend, but you're affecting everyone else's grade in here, and I can't let that happen.
So I want to do 80 filters.
The Business Academy at nearby Mesa Verde High School includes not only classes on finance, but a full-service campus banking facility supported by a local credit union. Students can open accounts, cash checks, and establish credit. And there are intangible assets.
Knowing, that you're relied upon to be at work when, on time, ahead of time, being able to work with a team, those are all extremely important skills for students to succeed right now.
I'm opening an account. Okay.
You do have to be professional in this because you can't mess around because it's real money, so you can mess up someone's actual account.
In most cases, decisions on the courses to be offered follow research by area advisory groups on local business needs.
They help us understand their needs and really the direction that we should take those students in, and then together they work to create a program that will meet the needs of the business folks.
So what we want to do is have a good dialogue between that particular school district and their local businesses. What are your needs? Are they agriculture related? Are they financial related? Do we have car dealers nearby? Do we need to be able to be car repair, which is totally different than it was 20 years, obviously. We're not repairing carburetors anymore. We're in a business of reviewing computer technology.
Computers and math are critical to the automotive coursework at San Juan High School. But it goes beyond mere theory.
You can't just sit here and, just try to pass the class to get the 15 credits. Like, you have to actually work on cars. You have to get it right. You can't mess up, because if you mess up, you're messing up a whole car.
Hey, go get a car for the oil.
A critical component in all of this is funding. Without targeted appropriations at the state and local level, some districts are unable to maintain established programs.
And it used to be that all the high schools had a program like this, and it's not that way. It's just, there's only 2 high schools in the district that have it, and these kids go to great pains to get here. They travel from all over the place to get here. And we really need to have these programs so that it's available to all the kids. Otherwise, we're just not gonna have anybody to fix our cars.
I'll sign right here. You sign for here, here, here. And that's the main thing we need right there, okay?
Some parents have concerns that career tech courses make students less attractive to college admission officers. But a recent study from the U.S. Department of Education says that such programs improve high school graduation rates, and that some 80% of those students will enroll in college-level coursework within 2 years after graduating high school.
It's going inside the pita, so we're putting the chicken in first.
We need to continue to fund our future. And the best way to do that is by helping those who are involved in educating. Help us light the fires under these generations that we're dealing with now to become innovators and become people who think outside of the box and become people who have the idea that if they can dream it, they can do it.
Formal vocational education courses began in the U.S. with the Smith-Hughes Act of 1917. Today, California provides curriculum standards for 58 career pathways in 15 industry sectors.
Just as career tech can make a difference in student success, early childhood education can play a significant role in a youngster's future. That early education can include everything from simple child care to preschool to pre-K, Head Start, or programs like Montessori schools. The movement to give youngsters that earlier start has taken on a higher profile in the past decade. It was a significant issue in the recent California budget negotiations that resulted in an additional $250 million for early learning and child development programs. Much of that money will be used to help low-income students attend preschool. But ongoing funding is an issue. Our Kristen Simoes takes a look at 2 very different districts addressing the challenges that come with keeping early education classrooms open.
These youngsters in the Fresno Unified School District are involved in classwork called pre-K or pre-kindergarten. just one example of early childhood education.
But really, pre-K is not about babysitting or daycare. It's about getting students ready to learn.
Okay, right there. Numerous studies have shown that effective programs not only get young students ready to learn, they also help children succeed later in life. One report says for every $1 invested in a comprehensive pre-kindergarten program, $6 are saved in long-term costs for remedial education, welfare, unemployment, and teen pregnancy. Additionally, quality pre-kindergarten programs can play a role in preventing violence. In this class, young students sound out words to improve reading comprehension.
So when a student comes into kindergarten knowing their initial sounds, being able to know the sound and identify it when they hear it, that is a concept that prepares them for the reading and the writing. It's phonics.
This is Miss Kindergarten gets ready for kindergarten. And
the work here stresses visual cues as well. Working with shapes, colors, and different materials encourages creativity and problem solving.
When they can do that out in the world and then bring it here and reenact it, they're really owning it.
The focus on reading and visual skills pays off in more than just academic accomplishments. Parent Alicia Cepeda saw dramatic improvements at home.
A year ago, she had trouble trying to ask for the things she needed, whether she was hungry or thirsty or wanted to play. She didn't really know how to, verbalize it. Now she can not only verbalize it, but she can say full sentences, full, conversations to really get her point across.
In the past, these types of classes were reserved for children in kindergarten, but multiple studies suggest that a major percentage of intelligence development occurs by age 4.
If we just say we're going to start at kindergarten, we're missing that time when the brain takes in the most information and is the biggest sponge for this learning. And there's much research that says even younger, that this is where the learning takes place. At that age, there's sponges for this literacy work.
Everyone's going to help clean up, and then we're going to go to morning circle, please. Thank you.
200 miles north of Fresno, the San Francisco Unified School District adheres to the findings of a 1960s study that followed 2 groups of high-risk 3- and 4-year-olds.
Some work I should do. Okay, says the monkey, we have work to do too.
After 40 years, the study found that children who went to preschool had higher earnings, were more likely to hold a job, and were more likely to have graduated from high school. Findings like that motivated the San Francisco Unified School District to ensure their preschoolers are successfully integrated into kindergarten.
We want to ensure that the children have everything they need, and when we say that, we mean the foundations in learning, but as well as that social-emotional piece, which helps children with self-regulation skills as well as social skills. And that would help them throughout their whole educational career.
This campus is focused entirely on preschool instruction, specifically pre-K, as well as TK, or transitional kindergarten.
With TK, it allows you to have more time for the children to work on certain skills that they need to work on. So when you walk into a TK classroom, we're actually balancing the preschool practices with the elementary education.
The work here, as with all California school districts, requires funding. In Fresno, preschool slots are funded with federal dollars, along with nearly $8 million in early education allocations from Proposition 30 funds. Prop 30, a sales and income tax increase, passed in 2012 as a means to augment educational budgets in California. The Fresno district, the 4th largest in the state with a dropout rate of 17%, would like to double its preschool enrollment. But extra tax dollars have not completely covered costs. Realizing many area families are impoverished, Fresno Unified waived additional fees and made the preschool classes free of charge, in part by dedicating an additional $7.5 million annually from its general fund.
It's no secret that Fresno is one of the poorest communities in our state, and so that our school leaders would have chosen to invest such a large amount of money in the most fragile elements of our community, our children and our youngest children, I think is a huge humanitarian effort on our part that is going to have tremendous benefits for the children in the community and certainly their families.
The outreach efforts here to support early childhood education are similar to efforts in Los Angeles, San Diego, and Long Beach. School boards in those communities have also earmarked general fund dollars for expenditures to their early childhood education programs.
Well, now you're in trouble. We're stuck in this goop.
As with Fresno Unified, San Francisco does not charge for these non-compulsory classes. Instead, the district uses a blend of federal dollars and monies derived from Proposition 10. Prop 10 was a 1998 California initiative that levied a tax on tobacco products, earmarking funds for education.
But you must help us too.
But costs continued to rise. And with 4,000 children enrolled in early childhood classes, the district sought help from the San Francisco community. In 2004, the community responded by passing Proposition H. It's a measure where residents essentially tax themselves to provide services for the district's 121 preschool sites.
Here in San Francisco, they voted a lot of bond funds to improve our buildings, but also to create this transitional K program that does take a lot of dollars and does take a lot of people to make happen. And as you can see here today, it's really working.
Earlier this year, state lawmakers passed a state budget, including the most significant bump to early childhood programs in a decade. In addition, California is one of the states selected by the Obama administration to receive nearly $53 million in an early education challenge grant. This focus on preschool funding has provided greater opportunities for teachers and parents.
When I first found out about the program, it was because a friend of mine had gotten her daughter into the program at another school, and she was on a waiting list. So I assumed with our conversation that it was a private school that she was getting into to learn Spanish. When I found out the following year that it was not private school, that it was free and it was through Fresno Unified, I jumped at the opportunity to put my children into it.
Every day I walk into the classroom, is something new happening. And the children come up to me and they'll tell me, "Candace, did you know this?" And then I'll go, wow. You know, it's like other people see you as 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, but I see you as early learners.
I understand maybe Uranus and Neptune.
When teachers receive children who've attended preschool, they'll often comment how well prepared the children are to continue with the next level of their education.
So go, take your kid to preschool. It's great. It's not just time away from your kid, but they learn so much. I mean, it just should be mandatory. Send your kid to school, to preschool.
Kindergarten began as an early childhood curriculum in Europe in the 1800s. America's Head Start program began in the 1960s to provide children of low-income families with an approach to meet their emotional, social, health, and nutritional needs.
We've taken a look at how innovative programs can make a dramatic difference for students. And as you might expect, teachers are a critical element in the success of any program. California is home to more than 300,000 public school teachers doing their work in more than 1,000 school districts across the state. Let's take you to Southern California, where one science teacher's work to inspire her students has been recognized more than once.
Thank you. My name is Ruth Luvand.
You guys are great.
This is my 13th year teaching. My father said, you know, baby, what you have to do is you have to find something that you love to do and someone crazy enough to pay you to do it. And I found teaching. If you recall, we made a pH scale, and I've never looked back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed to the library.
I teach chemistry, but we do so much more than teach our content. You know, I tell my students all the time, I say, you know, sometimes you may think that you're never going to use chemistry, but in reality, if you were working on your car and you spilt battery acid on your hand, you would probably neutralize that with soda. That's science, right there. You know, if you were an artist and you were going to paint, that's a double replacement reaction. That's chemistry. I think if you believe in what you're doing, which I do, and you enjoy what you're doing, it's not hard to be passionate about your subject matter. How many of the unknowns did you do? You did all of them. You did all the unknowns. I don't recall seeing anything that was that strong. There's a whole bunch of yellow, which insinuates that you have a lot of strong. It never really got diluted. First period I have general chemistry. So this is an inquiry-based lab project that we do. They make cabbage juice indicator, which will determine the strength of an acid or a base. Do we put acids down the drain?
No.
Why? I give them 12 unknown solutions. They don't know what they are, and they have to identify the pHs of those unknown solutions. So second, third, and fourth, I have honors chemistry. 2 molar solution. They do what's called a titration. And this is where you have an unknown concentration of an acid, and you want to find out what that concentration is. I see vinegar, and vinegar, you're calling that an acid. Okay, that's good. Consumables are mostly what?
I think that excitement about learning is the most important thing that a teacher can have. If the teacher's not excited about learning, then kids are not going to be excited about learning.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am so glad to have you here at the Science Science Roadshow. Are you happy to be here? Yeah! We're going to do some biology!
I love my Science Roadshow. I wanted to teach science to elementary school students. And I'm smart enough to know that it's one thing when a teacher delivers instruction, but if a high school student did it, like the elementary school students, they think those high school students, they're like gods. They listen to them, they're engaged. I attach them to the 5th grade science standards. These are really cool experiments. Of course, elephant toothpaste, that's always a fun one because it uses hydrogen peroxide and warm water and yeast and, creates a foam which can explode itself out of the graduated cylinder with a little bit of food dye. It looks really cool. In the back, we had several physics experiments. The yardsticks, which is a really cool air pressure demo. Woo-hoo! There's the bike wheel. I want these 5th graders to leave and feel like at the end of the day, this was the coolest thing they have done all year.
More than one is Pauline. Give it up. Thank you very much.
I told my husband when I found out I was Teacher of the Year in Bonita that you know you're doing something right when you're Teacher of the Year twice in 2 separate districts. And that's really cool. That's really awesome. But as an educator, I find that I evaluate myself more critically than I used to. I have to continually try harder because you're now a role model. There are so many exceptional teachers out there, and I'm just one of them. This one doesn't look right to me. I'm not sure what happened here. 5 looks right. I think it's all worth it if you love what you do. I love what I do. This isn't a job, this is a career. This is a life choice. What does your base scale say? Because your base scale would say 11 here, and I guarantee you your base scale would say that this is probably a 9. We as teachers, we are such an inherent part of any community. We are your baseball coaches and your soccer coaches. We're your troop leaders. We're your scout leaders. We're the backbone and the fiber that allows every young person to grow up and to become something greater than they possibly could have never imagined before. And when they see their teacher, they think to themselves that is someone who has inspired to me. And that's who we are. We're the teacher.
In addition to her district honors, Ruth was also recognized in 2014 as one of the outstanding teachers for all of Los Angeles County. I mentioned earlier that California has long taken center stage when it comes to educational issues. Looking ahead, a recent decision by a California court is being watched by public school districts all across the country. The court ruled as unconstitutional several state laws pertaining to teacher tenure. The impact of that decision will be one of the things to be examined as the story unfolds. So too will be California's move to the new Common Core state standards. Curriculum changes and computerized testing are all under the microscope. Just two of many topics impacting California students and schools. Before we go, we'd love to connect with you about education. Just visit our website at insidecaled.org. You'll find more about the show, videos, and links to other information. That'll do it for us. I'm Jim Finnerty. Thanks for joining us on Inside California Education.
Inside California Education is made possible by School Services of California, Capital Advisors Group, Schools Insurance Authority, Kobayashi and Company, ACT Aspire, and by the Stewart Foundation.